Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Today we have a brand new set of great stories for you to enjoy. Subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Sit comfortably. Here we go. Want to enforce outdated policies but not others? How about I just follow all policies to a T? So I worked at a high-end grocery store on the East Coast up until yesterday. I'll preface with a bit of background. I love this job, the people, and management. It was such a fun place to work until a new manager was hired in the front end. We'll call her BM for B Manager. I also just graduated college and was offered a great position in my field, computer science, and was ready to quit anyway. For about 15 years, I was there for 6, our role was to maintain the parking lot and attend to the shopping carts. This new manager was hired and started to make many demands that we just kinda did because we didn't feel like putting up much of a fight. After a few months, however, things started to change. She started enforcing the most ridiculous policies, even little things like tucking in shirts, staying in strict zones in the parking lot, and not being allowed to leave them, not being allowed to talk to other employees, couldn't wear any colors other than black or gray underneath our company sweaters, and other ridiculous things. She actually told me I couldn't wear a bright orange sweater underneath my bright orange work shirt. So here's the kicker. After a while of insane requests, multiple people just quit on her because, as 19-year-olds don't have bills to pay, they don't need to deal with the insane harassment she's been giving us for minimum wage. 3 great workers quit. 3 managers under her quit, a manager in training requested a department change, and 2 other guys requested department transfers. Here's my MC. Thursday, I open the store, which for me entails sweeping a lot, making sure the lobby is full, changing garbages, cleaning the bushes around the store, and a slew of other things. This is not part of my job. I do it because I like when the store is clean for customers. I do this from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., and the next shift comes in at 9 a.m. At around 8 a.m., I've completely finished everything and the store was dead, as grocery stores are at 8 a.m. on Thursdays, and I went to talk to 2 older people that work as cashiers inside. BM comes in at 8 a.m. and calls me over to her office. She then proceeds to tell me that I'm not allowed to talk to my friends, and can I wear my orange sweatshirt, and I have to tuck in my shirt and sweatshirt, which I don't know if anyone has ever tucked in their sweatshirt. It's quite uncomfortable. I try to ask why, and she's so unreasonable and just cites an outdated employee handbook. I just yes her to death and finish my shift. I go home and decide to read the employee handbook and every single document I have available to me. These are legal documents published by the company and everything. I find some gems such as I can wear white, blue, navy, black, or gray shorts from April 1st to September 31st. If extra warmth is needed, I can wear a maroon, blue, black, navy, or gray sweatshirt. And some other things like tight-fitting clothes are not allowed. She wears yoga pants every day. I come in wearing bright white shorts, a burgundy sweatshirt, and backwards white hat, and nothing resembling what her idea of our uniform is, and she starts going off, telling me to change or go home. I just smile, politely citing Employee Handbook page 47, subsection 2, bullets 1, 2, and 3. And I also direct her to Handbook page 46, subsection 5, bullet 6, which states that tight-fitting clothes and pants are inappropriate. I then go outside and start to finish my shift. This shift, however, I did nothing outside my job description. Garbages? Nope, sorry, that's actually maintenance's job. Sweeping? Recycling? Bushes? Not in my handbook nor job description. The store looks awful. I didn't leave my zone, so 4/5 of the parking lot was a mess. But not my zone. They call me into HR to discuss what just happened and what's going on. I politely explain the situation and how BM is the worst manager I've ever had the displeasure to have worked for and is trying to implement ridiculous policies that have never been implemented and make our job so much harder than it is. I then said I will be following the handbook exactly as it is written. I then handed in my 2 weeks and they were very taken back. I'm the only person who they've hired that can open, and without me, no one comes in until 9. They told me to go home and paid me out for my next 2 weeks. And the word on the street is the store owner was screaming at her last night. Feels good. And our next story. falsely accuse me and withhold my pay? Say goodbye to your business. I worked at a small local spa company. There were only about 6 workers there. I worked there for a year and a half and only met the owner once, but talked to them on the phone a lot. She was bat crap crazy, but that's besides the point. Anyway, I got hired because my friend's mom, Pam, was the manager, and someone had quit in the middle of their shift and they needed someone fast. I worked really well there and learned very fast. I was very good at the job to the point where after a couple of months, they sent new hires to be trained by me. Turnover here was bad. Despite this, I didn't get a raise or anything. It wasn't a big deal, but it would have been nice. Anyways, I was always a closer. There would be a list of things I had to do after we closed, like vacuum and dust and such, janitorial things. As months go by, Pam begins to pick apart things. A string was left on the rug, the candy bowls weren't filled, even though they weren't even half gone, etc. Nothing too big, but they made it seem like I liked their mother. Slowly, things started to get worse. Eventually, I was told that I was not cleaning rooms that I know for a fact I had. Now, I admit that once in a while I would forget to clean something, but I was getting yelled at for things I knew for a fact I cleaned. My other problem was that when my coworkers would forget the same exact things, she wouldn't yell at them, but would just say, "Try to remember," or something along those lines. Eventually, Pam got other coworkers to lie so that she could report me to the owner. Many days I came right from school and would be wearing jeans. Pam left right when I got there, so after I clocked in and counted the drawer, I would go and change into my work pants. Well, it turns out other coworkers would lie and tell her I never changed. After this, I began taking pictures and time-stamping them. This worked for a little while, but then my coworkers would say I changed back into jeans after that picture, and when it came time for cleaning, she would say I didn't clean it well enough, etc. All of these would get turned into the owner, but she wouldn't fire me because they were so desperate for people and no one wanted to work there. I wonder why. Eventually, I quit because I had a job for the summer that gave me many more hours. In my summer job, I made the same amount of money in 7 weeks that I made in a year at the last place. Right after I left, I learned why Pam wanted me gone so bad. Pam hired her son, my ex-friend, because he was too lazy to work a job where he couldn't sit around all day. That made me mad. But even worse, they wouldn't give me my last payment. We were paid in cash. I sent multiple emails and text messages to Pam and the owner that reminded them I needed it. When those went unanswered, I then threatened legal action. Being a high schooler, I don't believe they thought I would do anything. How wrong they were. Well, there were many reasons I was mad about this, so I decided I'd document every single thing about it at that place. These included 8+ hour workday with no breaks or lunch, both of which are required in my state, rats in the basement, ant infestation, fake security cameras, Pam faking the amount of money we had to pay her son and daughter for under-the-table work, child labor, Pam's daughter was not old enough to work, not fixing things like building framework, mold, etc., adding temperature to go above and below the legal limit. On bad days, it was above 100 or below 50 inside. Pam giving themselves a raise, even though they already made more than everyone else there. Selling client information. Pam compiling clients for another worker to take with them to a new company, usually not illegal, but the way they went about it was, I don't remember the exact details, not doing anything about harassment. Not paying workers. There'd be days where we didn't have enough money in the drawer, and the owner, and or Pam, would be too lazy to go to the bank, so they just would straight up not pay us. Not only this, but prior to me leaving, I recorded some of the verbal abuse from Pam. Believe it or not, I even got them to admit to making false write-ups on me. There was more, but I can't remember what else right now. Anyways, I compiled all this and sent it in an email to OSHA. Crap went down. In the end, both Pam and the owner were served with some hefty fines, and Pam is even facing jail time right now for fraud. The owner had to shut down their business and sell it. I don't know if the owner is facing any jail time. I also emailed every spa within 50 miles, so the owner, Pam, and some coworkers have been blacklisted from working within an hour of where we're located. I never did receive my last payment. It wasn't worth going to court over. But what came out of it was so much better. And our last story. Yes, I will not dump any sand in the water. Didn't happen to me, but to a family friend years ago. This guy, who we'll call Mike for the duration of this story, not actual name, had just purchased a new home on a large island connected to the mainland by a bridge. Now, because of where this island is situated, it's comprised almost entirely of granite, which meant that all the shores surrounding the island were incredibly rough and abundant with sharp rocks. Mike did not care for this. Mike wanted a beach. So Mike calls up a local quarry and requests a truckload of beach sand, the same kind that was under the rocks on the island, and has it delivered and dumped on his property in front of the shore. One of his neighbors had noticed this, figured out what he was doing, and reported him to the township. The township was not too happy with this. Now, this township has strict bylaws when it came to renovating the shoreline, dumping sand, etc., that required an endless amount of forms and permits that cost quite a few nickels and would almost always be declined without reason unless you may or may not have been friends with someone in the office. Mike had received a notice the day after his neighbor reported him, stating that if he dug up the shoreline or dumped any sand into the water without filling out the paperwork, that he would be heavily penalized and be forced to pay for the cleanup as well. So, being the law-abiding citizen he is, he went to the office, paid the fees, waited a week, and had his permit declined without reason. Knowing this was most likely going to happen, he had already extensively gone over the bylaws and noticed that only the act of dumping into the water was illegal. Nothing about the shores, the banks, or anything except dumping directly into the lake. Mike then waited a few months until winter, when the lake froze over, then simply pushed all of his sand onto the ice with a tractor and waited a few more months for spring. The ice melted and the sand fell nicely into place over the beach. Township tried to find him, but was unsuccessful as they had no laws regarding dumping on the ice, only in the water. The law was changed the next year. What a terrible person. Don't mess with shorelines. They're so important to the ecosystem. If you want a nice sandy beach, move to Florida. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.